this just in, Juice has started to prepare for us an a cappella version of Send It, but we're not going to do it just yet. We'll do it in the next break because this man, you know, he's got to think about other things at the moment. Of course, that is going to be Order and Direwolves, which is going to be the third and not final match of the night because Chiefs and Pentanet is going to be the final match. But this match is looking pretty damn hot. Order, you know, they've hit the ground running in the split and off to a decent start. I think they are 3-2 currently. Direwolves in that 2-3 slot as far as I'm aware. Maybe it's 3-2. But Direwolves have what it takes. We know they have what it takes. However, they're still trying to reintegrate Cupcake after a bit of a rocky start to him rejoining the roster yesterday, Rusty.
I mean, reintegrate is definitely the nice way to put what that game was yesterday. For the Direwolves, it was an absolute shocker. The auxiliary members of the team, being the jungler and the support, had a combined 0, 15, and 12 KDA, which is quite bad if you don't know maths for League. That's definitely not something that... Sorry, I don't know. I just had to keep explaining it. I was in a hole there at that point. So here we are. We look at the rest of the team to try and help them get through that, right? You've got Cupcake just coming back. He's been busy with studies. No doubt he hasn't been playing League as much as he would like to as a professional player. And only has shown some promise with his Rumble plays. Early game movements have been good, but again, they've lost a significant factor, or they've changed a significant factor in the way that their early games will work, as Cupcake is a prolific communicator for any team that he plays on. However, Shock has the potential to hard carry, has the champion pool for it, and so does Claire. So those two are the players that I would have to be looking at for Dials to step up in the interim, while Cupcake does get back to basics.
Okay, and Skimmy, do you think the same, or do you have a different idea on who is going to be the key player for Direwolves to play their A game?
Yeah, I think I've always hung my hat on Shock. I think he's definitely been the one with the most proficiency, especially when we had the big, you know, exodus, I guess, right? And for like the best players going overseas to play in the LCS, LEC, and so on. He definitely showed up as like, you know, the mainstay, especially even when Direwolves are having troubles to start off split number 1. I think if he can try and tap into some of that magic again, then he can look to try and you know, revitalize this team. I think it's just a question of, you know, you've had a break, you've got a new coach, and you've had a bit of a sub situation in the bottom half of the map too, and you're starting to wonder, okay, how long does it take before we get familiar and figure out what our go is? So it becomes a bit of a boring topic to keep saying, oh, they're ramping up, they'll get there, they've got experience, and it starts to become redundant. But I think there's a point in time where it will click, and it might just be that luck is on their side, given that we got 9 weeks of regular play.
Well, you guys know him, you guys love him. It's time to chat about Order as well. And Juves, tell me, what is their key to success, and why is it Kevy on Vi?
Well, no, you actually almost hit the nail on the head in the sense that the key to success for them is pulling the trigger. I think they got a little bit gun-shy against Pentanet. They were just not able to start fights. It was almost like with the compositions that they draft, they need to go first. They can't wait. They can't have a dance. They can't put 1 step forward, take 2 back. You've got to go. And Kevy on the Vi is probably a reason is to why they pull the trigger, even on the Diana in what we're seeing in these replays. So I do just want to see Order go back to basics. Nothing wrong with the drafts, if I'm being honest. Maybe you just sub that Ari out. But yeah, just pick stuff that's going to go in. Whether that's on Maximize, whether that's on Kevy. But don't be afraid to pull the trigger because, as a wise man once said to me, just send it.
Just send it, of course, of course. Now, as a man with an itchy trigger finger, Rusty, what's your idea on Order and how are they going to win this game?
Are you going to have an itchy trigger finger when I play FPS games? That's a more important question, I think, than anything else from that one. Okay. I think I'm a pretty reserved player. But listen, for Order, I do agree with most of the things that you've said there. Ultimately, it's really hard to bring it back on and remember the points that I have to answer. Kevy is everything for me, but also Maximize and Puma, I think both have so much potential, and they are the two people that I'm looking at on the assumptions that Kevy will be good. To see if they can keep themselves in check and just play like the proper drawn-out game of League of Legends that it is, right? For the whole 25 to 30 minutes, the whole 9 yards with no mistakes.
Well, I never knew that mentioning your fingers on broadcast could throw you off so much, so I'll never do that again. But speaking of fingers, 2 players with at least 20 fingers combined that are ready for an interview are down on the sidelines. Jubes, can you take us to the players with the fingers.
Yeah, I got my boy Chungy and Gunkrab. Just a quick finger check if you don't mind, lads, just to make sure the count was correct. Yeah, all good. We got a lot of fingers here. So, no, guys, thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. I know you've got a big game on the way, so thank you so much. Chungy, what changes have been made, or I guess what have you guys done after yesterday's game to kind of make sure that doesn't happen again, but also just improve on?
So I think in our games against like Chiefs and Pentanet, we got like advantageous leads in the early game, but we just threw, like, yeah, we're known for throwing our games. And when we go into review in our games, we know what to do. Like, we know the correct play after the game ends, but during the game, we don't know what to do as a team. So hopefully, like, going into today, we'll know what to do in game.
Yeah, fair enough. And Gunkrab, much of the same question to you in the sense that obviously it was a little bit of a rough one yesterday. I think that you actually had, in terms of an individual performance, you played quite well. Like, there was not much to work with, but you nearly put the team on the back. So that was a good one from you. But what kind of changes or mindset shifts have you guys made to kind of turn this one around and take the game to order?
Well, I think yesterday's game showcased a lot of issues we've been struggling with for probably the whole year. So they're not really like overnight fixes to the issues that were like plaguing us in yesterday's game. So we're kind of just like shoring up like the issues we can tackle now. For example, like draft and a few like early game laning phase mistakes. And we're just mainly just trying to move on from yesterday's game, because yeah, the mistakes we're making are like consistent throughout the year with our team.
Yeah. Okay, but that sounds positive. Like it's almost like a blessing in disguise that it happens now, and there's so much time to fix that. So come playoffs, you're just going to be firing and ready to go. Am I correct?
Yeah, the longer format in Split 2 definitely gives us a lot more breathing room to fix our fundamental issues within our team compared to Split 1.
Yeah, good. And Chungy, I know this kind of was touched on the other day, but what's it been like, you know, mid-split, changing to play with another player, you know, you and Kevy linking up in the jungle mid position and doing so well? How's that shift been, and kind of what has that allowed you to do, I guess, as an individual, right? Do you feel that you have the flexibility to play different styles, different champions, and offer more to the order lineup?
Yeah, I think adding Kevy to the lineup helped like open up my champ pool, because like I was known last year as the Yasuo Ari 2-trick, right? But this year I never got to play those champs. Yeah, and yeah, so adding Kevy to the lineup allowed me to like play those champions, and vice versa. I can also be the supportive role for Kevy if he wants to carry.
Yeah, I love that. And again, thanks gentlemen for joining me, and I wish you both the best of luck. Two of my favorite players. Don't tell anyone else I said that.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
We're going back. We're going back to the diff.
You've said it every segment.
Don't tell anyone.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
But
he said that every single segment.
But I can have favorite players from each team or not.
Yeah, fair.
In every team, they're my favorite.
You wouldn't happen to be interviewing again next week, would you?
I will not confirm nor deny. I'll have to speak to my manager, my PR manager, who will then probably go backwards and forwards with the producers of the show, and then maybe we can work something out contractually. I don't know yet. Like it's really going to have to go down the chain of command. I don't do the negotiations and I don't make the rules, so I just follow them.
You're just such a big dog,
I'm
mate.
glad I asked that question. Now, predictions. Let's have a chat about predictions. Jubes, you want to talk about your predictions as well?
Oh, what did I predict? Ah, that's not me.
No.
I predicted order for the win here. I think that it's a tough ask to bounce back from the result Direwolves had. I think it's going to be a tough one, a close one, be a backwards and forwards. But I think order, just maybe that with Kevy addition, just a little bit too much in the tank to get that one over the line.
I fucking love you.
Interview Jubes is just a whole new beast, and I really like it. I'm not going to lie. It's like the happiness and the lack of pressure, Jubes, I think is making you.
Yeah, I don't need to worry about anything.
Great.
I'm having the best time I've probably had so far on the DoorDash LCO. I don't know. I was not expecting to have this much fun today, but here we are. Now, ladies and gentlemen, before we do get into Champ Select, please, exclamation DoorDash if you didn't already get your bloody dinner. It's only almost 8 p.m, so there's still plenty of time for dinner. You know, you can eat dinner till 1 or 2 a.m, honestly. Let's be real if you're a DGen like me. But look, Champ Select's ready, so I'm not going to keep you waiting too much longer. Jubes and I are going to be jumping out. Skimmy and Rusty take us into Order versus Direwolves.
Beautiful. Well, I suppose we've got to try and calm down a little bit here and get ourselves hyped up for this game in particular, because it's Order taking on Direwolves. Both teams looking to try and sit pretty in the middle of the pack, but both teams facing a handful of defeats are looking to showcase, okay, what does it look like when we both do battle? Because historically, this has been a bit of a even matchup.
Yeah, absolutely. So both teams, you know, playoffs teams from split number 1, definitely still trying to really find themselves on the side of Direwolves and trying to solidify, I think, is the best way to look at it for the side of Order. They've got plenty of time. Remember, this split is a lot longer than last split. 6 weeks has become 9. We've got a lot less super weeks. So plenty of time to try and improve those, but the sooner you see the improvements, the more hope everyone, of course, will have watching you play. Just quickly as well, looking at the bans in the first pick that we've got, Lulu's finally not going to be on the cards for today, nor is the Karma, as they've matched those bans. And I think a lot of the picks that have been left wanting, such as the Viego from the first 2 games, will be readily available now.
Certainly will be, as that gets locked in as an instant response. Gwen going to be banned away here from the Direwolves, one of the only teams that are quite keen to lock that in, with Claire having 2 games under his belt already. Worth noting that whilst Nocturne is one of those insanely strong champions, Order have never played at the split, so they'll be showcasing what they can do with this champion and offering a fair bit of success with it too. There's the Fresh, a comfort no doubt here for Cupcake, who will be looking to redeem himself after a bit of a blasting yesterday.
Yeah, the 0-9 game on the Thresh yesterday. A lot of hooks were hitting, but that was one of those games that was just really rough once they got behind early, and they got behind really early. Skimmy, if you think back to the lane trades, Kevy hovering the champion that caused it all to happen in the first place. And something that has been mentioned, I know Juves brings it up, talking about Blitzcrank versus Thresh, for example, in matchups like this, but Thresh, to throw the hook, stands still and winds up the lasso right before he throws it. So other hook champions like Nautilus and Blitzcrank can just throw their hook for free. And because they are often known as Aftershock reliant champions, it's a free proc of the Aftershock, it's a free advantageous trade for those picks. So still, of course, 80 carry pending down in bottom lane, but I always like the Nautilus into something like the Fresh first.
And there's going to be the Diana as well now, so Order showcasing, this is what their jungle matchup is going to look like. They're definitely going to go for a fair bit of diving potential. We heard it from the interview there with Chungy saying if Kevy wants to pop off, then I'm there to facilitate him. Well, the Galio has been banned away from him, so no ability to try and play the map if you're looking at Global Ultimates. You've mentioned you know, TF potentially being an idea if there was an Akali, but that's banned away too. The response seems to be the Lee Sin, looking to be the playmakers now on either side of this draft.
Yeah, TF is an option. I find that one interesting, but keep in mind the reason that it may not be picked is because someone like Nocturne does the opposite of what a TF provides, so you can get countered by it. We have seen Nocturnes with Akalis, but yes, like you highlight, Akali is going to be gone. Lee Sin can be considered a takeaway from Max just as much as it is a pick for Shock or Claire. For me, looking at it, I feel like Shock could play Lee Sin, but I think he's more of a Viego player where Claire is more of a Lee Sin player, just from the styles of the two, if that makes sense. So we'll await where the rest of these comps go. I like the Yasuo ban away from Chungy. Comboed with Diana can be crazy. It basically means that Diana's ultimate will hit, right? The damage will connect. If you ult more than one person and lock them down, it's a crazy, insane damage dealing wombo combo.
Also worth touching, that means a lot of champions have actually been denied away from Chung. We've seen some interesting drafting directions into Order. There was the one where they were looking to ban away Kevy and pretty much make sure that he was forced to go into the Vi, our first of the split. This time it's going to be Chungy, so all that's really left and available in the last 8 games would be the Ahri. We'll get to see what he's forced to play as a response. There's the Silas ban too, one that we've seen Claire very adept at. Lots to raise questions though. What are we going to see in the bottom lane? As that seems to be the pick of the litter, with Ezreal still available and pretty much everything else too.
Yeah, I mean, you've got a Thresh, you can pick the Varus, right? You've got a Thresh, you can pick a low mobility 80 carry, even though the enemy team has a Nocturne, has a Diana, even has a Nautilus. It'll make life pretty difficult for you. I think the Naut being there does mean it's impossible to go for something like a Cleanse. They have a lot of damage without crowd control like that so far, knockups, and the works. and just turning the lights out, I still constitute as crowd control. This is interesting, and I really like this decision. Kalista, we have seen around the world, right, is just a really strong laning champion. You can run Hail of Blades, and you can throw a Nautilus at people late game for team fighting. Does become pretty difficult to deal with a Lee Sin and with a Viego, but you can smash out Lifesteal as, hey, you know what counters the Twisted Fate? Pick it with your team instead. What are you going to do about it?
We were wondering where it would come, but, you know, you got 2 globals now. You turn the lights out, and just a whole bunch of CC and pain comes your way. There's a Bard being hovered, but I would doubt it with the Fresh being locked in. You know, Cupcake can play both proficiently. Seems very unlikely on this occasion. It's going to be a 5th pick into the Rise. We've seen it played by Shock before in the mid lane. Gives them a bit of macro pressure, so to try and target those side lanes and make sure that Order don't run away with this game.
Yeah, and puts the Lee Sin into the jungle, or the Viego, of course, into the jungle role, so Flex is one of them there. We've seen a mixture of Viegos in lanes and jungles. Lee Sin has also existed in both roles, locally and around the globe, so it's not too surprising that they'll just pick based on what they think is the best matchups. Interestingly enough, I've said this for a while since MSI, we've often seen Nocturnes handle the Lee Sin well, but it's never really resulted in a kill, right? It's just a lot of priority in lane. The Viego has a decent clear, but is often preferential to single camps until you get a couple points in the queue, maybe, for taking down Raptors more proficiently. But can still be quite a real issue to deal with when they can gank from Fog of War anywhere on the map, right? You place down the mist and just sprint out to gank you. I still personally favor the Order composition just from the way that these 2 comps have panned out. But I can see a lot of strength in the Direwolves champions that they picked for themselves individually. You know, Claire on Lee Sin has a lot of outplay. Rise for Shock, I think Rise is actually a really good champion and does do a lot of work into someone like a Twisted Fate who's going to have a pretty rough laning phase now.
It seems to be the case because there's a lot of punishment potential, as you mentioned, but it seems like the pieces of the puzzle need to come together quite nicely, whereas you look on the side of Order and, you know, you hit level 6 and a lot of champions are coming your way, a lot of denial, a lot of CC, and a lot of CC on top of everything to just make things very much Order favored. There are the true drafts as we get ourselves into game number 3. A chance here for Order to bounce back and a chance for Direwolves to showcase what it looks like after a bit of a humbling defeat yesterday.
Yeah, it was definitely a humbling game for them yesterday. A lot of strong words sent by Pentanet.gg as a response after it also, but if there was lessons, if they've taken some strengths away from it, both teams really humbled yesterday with a lot to prove now.
As we load into this one, we have the Direwolves coach in Farmer on hand. Mate, first of all, that game yesterday, a bit of a roughie. Where do you even begin with a match like that?
I mean, you just got to figure out what went wrong and, just, you know, bounce back. Like, these players are they're not rookies. They're used to dealing with adversity, and, you know, props to them. Like, we had a long discussion yesterday, and just, you know, I can already tell that we're way more confident going into this day. So, you know, these things happen. Obviously, we're really unhappy with yesterday's performance, but, I mean, props to Legacy, they played well, we didn't, so yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, sure. I mean, is it, are there any comparisons to be made perhaps with split number 1, where it took up until week 4 for you guys to really find your feet and get it going, and then ultimately went on an undefeated streak?
Yeah, I mean, we're still trying to find our consistency and what works best for us. I think we're a lot more... You know, at the end of last split, we kind of felt like we had run out of steam a little bit because we hadn't, well, I wouldn't say run out of steam, but maybe we hadn't like invested enough in the long-term goals of the team by, you know, trying more things and risking more things early, and so, or like throughout the split. So I think that we're still kind of in the stages of figuring out what works best, but, you know, we're really confident long-term now because we just are, like, our results are obviously not what we want them to be, but internally and in our scrims and stuff, we're pretty happy when we're doing what we think is best.
And then talk to me, you know, you look at this draft, right, there's a lot of curveballs thrown against you here with Order locking in a lot of champions we've yet to see in the league as a whole, but from them in particular. How much does this throw you off, and do you add any more pressure that you need to get a win to send a statement after yesterday?
No, we don't view any games as like a statement, because that's, you know, implying that we're we're not just taking every game as it is, right? Like this game has to be separate from last game. Like we're just going in with a bit more confidence than we had yesterday, perhaps, like a bit more juice, and then you know, we'll get the dub from it.
Let's look forward to seeing what happens in this game. Thank you for your time as always, Farmer, and I'll leave you a bit.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Rusty, a bit of action, but nothing for the first blood just yet, but I may have jinxed it as I see it only parving towards topside.
Yeah, only was sneaking up there, Kev. He's got a read on it, however, but one of the most important things here is that the wave in top lane has been permanently frozen in Claire's favor, I would say, more than anything else. Chungy's also about to find Shock. Damage is on.
He is locked in place with the Rune Prison. Claire in a fair bit of trouble right now. Gets chased upon there by Kevy. Multiple members low. Flash is being burnt, but Kevy survives. Could be first blood here for Maximize. And then it's a double kill for the Nocturne.
Yeah.
And it's the best case scenario.
Shock no mana as well, so he's going to have to reset, teleport back to lane if he wants to stay in this lane at all. Chungy pretty healthy after that trade, all things considered. Even has the minion dematerializer to try and push this next wave in and reset if he wants, as it's a cannon wave too. That's a huge win for the side of Order across the board. Nice hook bottom though.
One for trade. There's spears laying in place here. Puma ramping up his damage. The gold card connects. And there's Kevy once again dashing through mid. Two very favourable trades here fan across the map from Order. Already off to a fantastic start.
Yeah, I think that was Kevy looking to potentially cross towards bottom. Max still keeping control of top lane. So let's quickly take a step back from everything and look at the bigger picture here. Order win a trade while they have a priority top lane champion who has permanent priority because it's Nocturne into Lee Sin. We'll hold that thought.
Only find a fair bit of redemption right now. Down goes the Mist, waiting to try and charge himself up with a stun. Protection from the Order bot lane is there to find success and top him up as he can smite his HP back up.
That Krug might stop you, Beats. Come on, man. Beats gets cancelled. Nevertheless, Kevy's going to be able to pick up the Krug camp. Nice little disengage from him. Now, top lane has permanent priority. Iron Spike Whip purchased early only exacerbates that to be more of an issue for Direwolves, and he's going to hit level 6 pretty soon as well. So, well before Claire, I should say, most importantly. That is going to be a big issue for Direwolves to deal with. Now, mid lane. You know, Flash was used by Chungy, yes, but I didn't actually see his keystone. The most common one would be an Unsealed Spellbook. So Flash gone can be replaced at 6 minutes anyway by another one, like a Ghost. Is going to hit 6 at pretty good stead himself. Diana is going to be an issue in teamfights and now has 2 solo laners that have been able to pretty much force priority as well and constantly be able to assist Kevy. So Kevy can either gank bottom or just invade off cooldown, knowing that both solo laners are at closest proximity and fastest on move. That is a significant deal for Order in snowballing this game out and being aggressive, which is what we've liked from them so far in the past.
That's wonder though, will it be option paralysis when there are too many good options for him to consider? It's worth noting. Touching on that, you said, would it be Chungy playing the Unsealed Spellbook? Seems to be the option, and there it is, locked in. But touching on the fact that Maximize finds those first 2 kills, he gets the double buffs, is able to push Sinclair underneath his turret, gets so much. Hang on a minute, there's the Destiny, there's the lights going turned out. That just might be another kill in mid lane, as
Max.
easy as they come. But Max locked under turret, and it's a trade and a shutdown for Shock.
Yeah, Max mistimes the spell shield there. So well played from Shock realistically to make sure that the Rune Prison connects and that he's able to lock him down with crowd control under the turret. Turret ramps to make sure there is going to be a trade back. So that's actually crucial, right? Because it's also a shutdown. So while that's a 1-for-1 trade and it's a dragon that's going to be converted from this Order, of course, having priority in their bot lane as well, consider that Shock at least gets a lot of extra money, and that's a free Merc trade purchase for him. So, not great, but still something.
Yes, now Beats is challenging only to support doing battle 1v1 against the jungler. The Ignite burn early, the collapse goes across. Shot really unable to offer much assistance, but now they can look to form a bit of a collapse from 3 separate angles. Cupcake to engage, then to flash away to bait out the engage, to try and take down Beats. They're successful. A reset angle now for Only. He becomes Nautilus. He needs a second kill, but he can't get his life back. As Kevy goes golden, but Kevy dies in the end. It's a double kill here for Shock, who we said had to be the one to show up. He certainly is right now. There's the blast cone. Claire looking for the kill. Chungy has no flash. He's burnt it already. We'll find a kill. So we have 9 kills in 7.5 minutes.
Yeah, crazy little skirmish that happens with the blue buff, but still a massive rise for Direwolves is going to be the giant beacon of hope that they need to stay in this game. Now has the most gold in the game by 200. You know, Max not having his ultimate does make you question if that fight was worth it. Gunkrab could ult here. Really wants to. They don't know the Nautilus
for a
is on
whole
the flank.
bunch of damage. They have no idea. There's the ultimate. Chuck him out. A 2-man knock-up. Combo that with the passive. Nautilus having so much uptime to prevent Gunkrab from really doing pretty much anything in that situation. The 2v2, it's just disastrous.
I really like the flash decision there from Puma Skimmy because he flashes towards the Direwolves turret to get out of the Chains of Corruption reset from the Varus ultimate. So chooses to say with total confidence that they will win the 2v2 and that there is no reason for them to disengage. And quite simply, the engage was perfect from the Nautilus, knocking up both members, making sure the Threshold misses there as a result. So easy as you like from Order in the 2v2. And one of the major strengths that a Kalista provides is the lane control with the threat of an all-in at any moment from a Hail of Blades Kalista.
Yes, Puma still playing out of his mind. Not to forget, though, that Beats has definitely been his partner in crime. Finding so many angles that just look so good for them. And, was complemented also by Predator yesterday, saying that they're one of the bot lanes that is willing to try and find fights in the laning phase, and that's what they're doing already.
Yeah, most definitely are. I like the proactivity of Order, right? We can definitely criticize, for example, the dive in mid lane not going successfully, and then the follow-up of blue buff while missing ultimates. You could criticize it, but for me, I actually just compliment the fact that they did it at all, you know? Like, I think that's a really commendable thing.
So as the dust settles, let's take a time to, I suppose, take stock of what this all means, right? You know, insanely strong power spread across the board here for Order. They've got a lot of utility, not to forget, between the Destiny and the Paranoia. But Shock, you know, the fact that he's able to find 3 kills so early on a rise, perhaps that begs the question that Direwolves will look to try and slow this game down a fair bit.
Will this Herald be contested by the side of Direwolves? I believe the answer is most likely a yes. You can see the proximity, of course, of the Viego, but they don't know that Beats is here. Gunkrab, sorry, not Gunkrab, Cupcake are definitely not in the area, still a support for Direwolves, but the fight's on.
There's the Hex Flash, the light goes out, they hook him in, it's a trap, it's an assassination attempt, and it is successful. Kevy once again surviving the Triumph Rune choice. Enough to stabilize him there. It's another double kill, and it's another pop-off moment by the bot lane of Order.
Yeah, absolutely. Beats being in the correct place, the instant response from Order's solo laners. This is exactly what you would expect to see from the composition that they have, and it's being executed brilliantly overall. I mean, this is one of those moments where I actually look at the Direwolves camp and say, what is the goal, right, for contesting that Herald? What is the outcome that you're hoping to see when you know that the support is missing from Order and that yours is visible at the turret? They know they have a numbers advantage. They know they have a Nocturne and a Twisted Fate ultimates to get there faster. So you have to move together, but they still get the jump on you. So it's really risky to take fights like that. If you're not set up in advance, if you're reacting to Order, you're probably losing.
That means that only 11 minutes into this one, Order already find themselves up with 3,000 gold. Significant lead so early on into this game. A lot of skirmishes. But they've been well thought out, calculated to say the least here from Order. They've given them some significant advantages. The items, no doubt. Mythics soon to come on through, as there's the Hextech Predator Belt already online here for Kevy, and that just means the sticking power and his ability to one-shot you from pretty much anywhere is a growing concern.
So looking at the Direwolves camp here, Skimmy, I think it's hard to say where they are going to strictly be able to carry the game. Right, now that your Viego is 0-3, Viego still has pop-off potential. You know, can still be an absolute weapon running around in team fights. Give it a reset, you'll have a chance. Varus is going the lethal tempo build, not going for the lethality build. So he's looking to do consistent damage over the course of the team fight to all of the front line. The closest target, basically, is the way Varus will operate.
Oh no, only when hunting. He wanted to do a bit of counter jungling, but he's forced to not only burn the ult, but the flash too, and the hope that he's gone the right way with the lights turned out. Claire comes on through, he tries to offer him a safeguard, it just doesn't matter. He kicks him into a turret and says, I'll give you one back. Now can they turn things around? A late TP in here from Shock, looking to try and take out Chungy, but he's just so fast. but you can't find more than one.
Yeah, and that's the difference maker right there, though. Where was Kevy when the fight happened? Because it was just a Nocturne and just a Twisted Fate that make the play. So Direwolves are actually able to get a response. Only lives for long enough just doing Viego things. And making a 0-3 Viego 0-4, is it worth it when you're trading people that are strong? Probably not. In saying that, they're only really losing Maximize every single time they take those plays, and they will be able to summon Herald. They're hair's breadth away from another plate on top of that, Skimmy, so it's not bad. Just really forcing the issue, and this is almost expected now, right? The way this game's been playing from Order, whenever they have those ults, expect to play.
In the case, Lester known to be a bully in lane and is already off to a fantastic start there. Beats with some good map intelligence to find success in bot lane, but also to rotate elsewhere and ensure that the double ultimate combo is able to find its mark. We always talk about how important it is for champions like this to hit level 6 and then make that first ult count. Well, it certainly has. And now the sticking potential of this Nocturne. Still noting that we're on patch 11-12. Still a bit of a dash there on the Stride Breaker, so it'd be very hard to try and run away from the subsequent fear.
And it's not just a dash, Skimmy, it's a cancel on the ultimate, which is one of the more interesting mechanics that a Nocturne can use Stride Breaker for. If you think you've made a mistake halfway through, you can just back on out by using the Stride Breaker and cover however much of the distance you actually want. We've seen that used in the LCO also, I believe, by Appy when he was constantly taking pot shots at engagers but cancelling at the last second, just hitting them with the fat psych out. Going to be possible in the next patches. Shock is the place that I'm actually looking, Skimmy, back to my previous point. I didn't quite get to finish it in time. Shock, being 3-1, has the early kills, got through his early laning phase and got the free Merc Treads rush from the kills that he picked up, is only going to get stronger with time. And he is going to be an ever-present threat. Claire, of course, is a strong mechanical player with one of his signature champions. It may not be of recent times, but to me, Claire Lee Sin is a signature champion and a signature pick.
Champion we've seen too much on a global front, as we'll hold that point again because it's a 2v2 top side, and just look at them evaporate the health bar whoever they focus. Non-existent, a safeguard away, but caught in the animation of being feared, and it's an easy picking for a double kill. Then to add insult to injury, a turret too.
Beats has flash, they could look for this, hooks on.
Cross connects with the hook afterwards there. There's the insurance policy, suck him out, put him back in. Just make it look oh so clean. There's the exhaust delay as it may be. Might be enough. No, it's not. I take it back. Shock's dead. Kibby finds the kill. Once again, the CC under the turret really being the saving grace.
Cupcake does a lot of work there as well, right? Exhausting Puma, making sure the kill wasn't going to instantly happen. And the turret ramp up, like you highlight, is going to be a significant factor in making sure the trades are there. But if every single time we see a trade from Direwolves, it is complements of a turret dealing damage, then I don't think they're going to be able to do much in the rest of this game, right? The way it's currently playing, the way it's going to continue, definitely favoring Order, and their proactivity is paying off. And let it be known to everyone who plays in the LCO or watches that proactivity is good if it works. There's risks obviously attributed, but we like the aggression. I could only compliment Order for playing a comp like this and using it properly.
Certainly put together something quite frustrating to deal with, but they know what they're up to. They are finding a whole deal of success with it already. Another 5 minutes on the clock, and we find ourselves another few thousand gold in the lead here for Order, who've already found themselves, Rusty, 2 dragons, now looking for their second Herald, and really everything going their way.
It definitely is. Looking for trades back is not a realistic possibility right now. You've got the Varus with his on-hit build that has gone for a Immortal Shield Bow to try and keep himself alive, so minimal damage coming out of Gunkrab. Will have to just do what he can. Divine Sunderer is there for Only, and you can just start the build tank from this point, and I would advise it if you are Only. You don't really have much of a choice. Cavi also going to instantly summon Herald here, but Direwolves poised to fight this one. This could be a point where they try and stand strong.
It's up here in the mid lane. Destiny going to be used to reveal if any members of the Direwolves were greedy and playing on a flank. To snipe anybody. It does mean that it opens up the doors to take themselves now the 3rd dragon. Themselves on a very early soul point. The dragon getting lower, the smite is there now. Direwolves will still look to try and contest, even though the dragon is gone. Ooh. They're flashing forward. Gunkrab the one to actually try and engage. But an instant flash away there from Kevy. nothing will come of it.
Well disengaged for the moment. There is a control ward in favor of Order in that bush, so they're fully aware if Direwolves were going to contest this one. Direwolves looking for a fight for no reason other than the fight, Skimmy, and that is how you know the game is not going very well for them, right? It's the third dragon already secured, and Direwolves saying, we can maybe get picks here after the fact. Never ready for the moment because they've been pushed around. You know, Herald, Summon, mid, Careful, pushing them back to group up under the turret. Free objective. Free objectives back to back. And more gold in the pockets of Order than it is in Direwolves. And they are well and truly doing well in this game and looking to secure it out in one more Drake.
Sad times. If you hit the tab check and you note that your Viego carry jungler is 0-5, be looking for those resets, but definitely not as much of a threat as, say, a Hecarim or even a Xin Zhao when you're behind, where you still serve the purpose of locking somebody in place with the CC or soaking up the damage and acting as a buffer for the rest of your team to try and follow suit. Certainly not a good point when you see your AD carry Hinterburn flash to try and start a fight, even when the dragon is gone. Desperation here creeping in for the Direwolves as they're behind. 6 kills now, and know that this game is really starting to get out of control.
Yeah, you definitely do have the feeling that it's starting to get out of their hands extremely fast here. Blue buff does go the way of Shock, which is nice. His tier is pretty much fully stacked at this point, just 50 more on that one before he can complete that and start to do more damage, and it'll provide wave clear, but again, that's a silver lining. The state of the game as it currently is, Baron is about to be up in 50 seconds. You've got a Kalista. You've actually got an insane amount of damage per second that you can deal with a Nocturne hitting it also. Order as 5 could consider it, and they could consider it early, which means that Direwolves have to consider it. But in a losing situation, they could be walking into the belly of the beast if they try and get near that Baron buff at all. And with themselves on the back foot, noting that the enemy team is a pick composition with a Nocturne and a Twisted Fate, they have to tread carefully with every step that they make, Direwolves, or it could be lights out.
Yeah, literally, as we've seen on multiple times already in this game, right? So
I was going to say it's looking dire, and then I just said another pun accidentally instead. So
very hard for them to try and poke their head into that river and see if they are on the Baron or not. Really all need to be on the same foot there and even commit to a shot call, even if it isn't necessarily the best one. Stage Order will certainly pick you apart and have so much potential just to take down that Baron 4-3 between the Rend and Kalista. That Smite as well. As it stands, though, they're playing for the side lanes. A flawless game from them. They've taken out 3 turrets. All the others are gone. Ooh. They are just stepping up on their opponent without a fear in the world.
Dicey little skirmish potentially was about to happen there towards the Direwolves' red side Raptor camp, but Hook goes wide. So does the Dyna Q. So no follow-ups there from either side of the rift here. Baron buff does have vision secured by Order, so to the prior point, it's something that they can well and truly use at the very least as a point to bait. They can move up from there. I would really like to see them control the red side vision still, but you've also got a Mountain Soul in 1 minute 30, so there's a world where you just teleports in mid.
Okay, that's going to be the teleport ultimate, which actually does not expire and allows them to get in from a very deep angle. That's fantastic. Maximize the one to get exhausted, Gungrab the focus, but both survive. Really trying to force their hand here as the Baron is up and available and the Soul Point to play for in just over a minute.
That was exhaust heal from Gunkrab and Cupcake respectively, and both of their ultimates down for the cost of a Nocturne and a Twisted Fate ultimate. So this does hurt their team fighting, obviously, but that's not all they have.
There's Fate's call. The Ever Foster will not be enough to try and buff for that one. Shot caught out of position. It's just going to fall on down. Claire comes in to try and save him with the kick, but he gets flashed away from, so the kick does absolutely nothing. Cupcake trying to re-engage, but as you say, they have nothing left in the tank, and they'll find one. It's a Viego that gets himself a kill, but he needs more than just that. He needs to try and corrupt everybody's soul, become them, and find resets. He'll find one. He's found a second. There's another shutdown, but he gets put into fear. Will not be able to kick the lantern. That Cupcake had so well placed, and that just means a very easy transition with the Kalista. But as Diana goes straight towards the Baron.
He does try his absolute best, but at the end of the day, as you just noted, the Nocturne Fear Tether does still go through a Viego ultimate, even when he jumps into another body. We'll see this once again. It was a Kalista ultimate, chucking Beats in. Beats just CCing them all, keeping them busy. Claire tries, it just gets locked down here. And note, a bit of payback for Gunkrab really tragically there as a Nautilus hook hits him around the corner of a wall. Makes no sense, but it's something that he did earlier last week for the Direwolves to get themselves the kill. So payback is a very unsweet justice here as Order will continue to snowball the game out. Now the Dragon, Skibby, does go the way of Direwolves, but the cost is high.
It certainly is. It's Baron that's taken against them. They will at least deny the soul point. They've got so many concerns to try and deal with right now because the map continues to be against them. That's going to be another turret. Taking a fair bit of damage here from the split push of the Twisted Fate. There's the Realm Warp. It's the Direwolves now looking to try and find some sweet revenge of their own. Out goes the Paranoid. The light's going out. That's Chungy buying some time. But that's a blind hook here from Cupcake. They will find one at least. It's a trade though, as Kevy gets himself into the fold of things and is able to take out Gungrove. Now jumping in for more, locking in place 2 with the Moonfall. Can they find success? Can they find a double kill? The Fear connects once again. And these Fears, they just do not miss. A beautiful cleanse from Puma, as he might look to try and take everything and more. He's sitting on a double kill. He wants the triple. But Cupcake just stable to run away.
Claire's still here with full health, but I don't know if he has the tools to actually defend this one. Beat's going to zone them away to the inhibitor. Definitely going to drop. What they do from this position, I would expect most likely a reset, play towards the mid-inner turret, and just continue to snowball the game out from here. We're at a 10,000 gold difference, and there may be only 2 stacks on that Magi Soul Stealer for Chungy, but it doesn't matter. He's got the 2 items and he's doing his job even if he goes down in that last team fight. The nice little trade from the rest of Order. Make sure that it continues to go their way, and now this is a terrible situation for Direwolves. We'll see this again. The hook was good, right? But at the same time, Guncrab separated from the team and Nocturne turns the lights off and you can't be split from the herd in that situation. The flash ultimate from Kevy's good. The Zonias stops a reset from Only. And quite simply, that was it, right? No resets for Only, no team fight opportunities whatsoever.
The trades that continue to be found here, just working against them. And you know, we've taken stock checks at multiple timestamps in this game, be it a 2k lead, a 5k lead, but it's up to now 10,000 gold against them at 25 minutes into this game. Order well and truly have found success. They've understood what their win conditions are and have played it to a T. That's going to be the 6th tower, soon to fall on down. No response here from Direwolves yet. They've managed to put a bit of pressure towards the mid-tier 1. Not enough elsewhere, and very hard to first of all, place vision to try and figure out what Order's next move is, but just to respond back.
Yeah, you can't stop inner turrets from falling. You have to pick a point somewhere, right? Where do you draw that line in the sand? And for them, it does seem to be the mid lane inhibitor turret. Now, there is going to be natural pressure building from top lane with the super minions. There is also going to be double split pushes of Chungy and Maximize able to work together in a side lane and instantly pivot, right? Because the map state has Order in the closest lane to the Nocturne. Ultimate's always going to be in range. Twisted Fate can just instantly go their teleport or not. We're realistically looking at pressure continuing to be applied. Direwolves having to really just pull a rabbit out of a hat if they want to stay in this game any longer. Because it is on Order to just win a team fight, close the game out. And they could choose to do it without Baron. They could choose to do it at Baron.
Certainly aren't short of options as to how they want to close this game out, are they? Big gold leads.
Yeah, they could just split push to win as well, right? Like, if they really wanted to, who's going to stop them?
90 seconds on that soul point. 2 minutes to play for the 2nd Baron of the game. Those don't seem to truly be the talking points right now. All 3 waves are crashed in place. Another TP, another angle to collapse on those side lanes. A 1v3 on towards Claire. Do they need the paranoia? Well, they'll use it anyway, and that means Maximize can snipe that kill for himself.
If nothing else, it's secured. Cupcake's going to look at Maximize here. Nice hook.
And they turn things around. Can they pick apart this Nocturne? A spell shield. We're not sure of that cooldown, but it doesn't even need to be used. He's got a GA as well, Rusty, so he's well and truly protected. Double Zonias between the jungle and the mid lane here for Order. They can look to play pretty risky right now. It's been a recipe for success all game long, and nothing needs to be burnt.
Yeah, with those 3 items completed, there's really no risk in diving turrets with the lead that they have. Zonias for both dive champions that are AP and Guardian Angel for the AD of Maximize. It was really just there to secure the kill as well. I think Claire played decently well, honestly. Hits the Q and the kick before a stun connects to him and covers as much distance as possible to try and disengage, but there's just too much. There's just way too much sticking power and staying power for them. too much distance that they can cover. Direwolves forcing mid priority.
Puma on a 1v9 show. They're going to chuck him in. Beats looking to lock in place the key target. Turn their attention now on towards Clear. He's locked in place, forced to dash away. But in a 3-man moonfall, and it's just lights out for Direwolves just like that. Kevy finds a double. It's a double also for Puma. And Maximize says, I can't let the rest of your team have all the fun. I need to get myself a kill as well. Another ultimate, another kill, and another ace.
And a clean ace in the end, Skimmy. A clean victory for them here as well, honestly, as Order never looked like losing.
Any questions and statements mentioning that Order strength of schedule? An easy start for them. Another dominating performance by them. Another showcasing of one of the teams that didn't have the best Split 1 campaign, but truly still on the mix for Split number 2.
A big win for them, a clean win for them, and also a fast win, right? There was a lot of good early skirmishes from the side of Order, and even in the bottom lane, the 2v2 fights that we saw from them were also successful. And we really are seeing the rise of Puma and Beats down there in that bottom lane as they're constantly starting to take those names, right, and get those skirmishes and look better and better as the split progresses, while the rest of the map plays brilliantly around Kevy, which is the way that they realistically should be playing, and they do it to a great degree of success.
They certainly do, and Mac, I mean, what a game. And I suppose really, as much as we highlight and celebrate Order, what a week for the Direwolves, right, to try and forget, because it, from yesterday and today, really hasn't been them.
No, it's a little bit crazy. Even just from that first fight in the river, it looked like Order, their decision-making and their focus was just in a different league, I guess. I don't know if I'd say different league, but just that little bit better at the moment. And you can see that Direwolves, yes, it's almost like they've gone back to square one, and they need to now progress forward to try to get back in. And as said in the pre-game interview, Direwolves, they are aware, at least there is that extra chance. You play each other 3 times, so they're going to have that little bit of extra time to maybe fill the shoes again. And we loved where they ended up at the end of last split, but I would have hoped that they would have come into this split, with all of that extra experience, knowing their strengths and weaknesses and being able just to come out of the gate swinging. But it just seems like that is not going to be the case. Order, however, looking very good in this matchup, and it was pretty much, as I mentioned, from the get-go, looking like they just were that better team in terms of a whole, complete team. Rusty.
Yeah, those most definitely were. I think this was a class difference in this game, and absolutely for Direwolves, right? The split is long. They have a lot of time to find themselves once again. It's just never going to feel good to lose games like this throughout that period of rebuilding and trying to get yourself back to where you were. At the end, though, we can only celebrate what Order have done for a team that came into playoffs in Split 1 and got immediately eliminated by a 3-0 from the Chiefs. They really have made a statement this split, I feel like, with the addition of Kevy, and said that we 100% not only can make playoffs, but can stay and make a run.
Well, is Kevy rocking that 90% kill participation? I think he had something like 21 kills and assists there, so it's looking pretty damn good for him. I reckon he's certainly a contender for the DoorDash player that delivered. Anything you want to touch on here other than the 15k gold diff, Skimmy?
I don't know, it's just the draft itself. We just saw something a little bit different. Coming out from them, and they showcased that, hey, it seemed well rehearsed. It seemed like, they identified what they needed to do, how they wanted to play around it, and what their assignments were for the game as a whole. And were able just to punish, all on the same page. The rotations were clean, and Direwolves were having to really bank on the turrets, acting as a 6th member, try and find any form of success. It was a losing battle from what seemed like the very go.
Yeah, I'm liking that we got to see the TF, the Callista, as well as the Rise over on the side of Direwolves there as well, which is something I was talking about the other week, saying we haven't seen a whole lot of that here in the LCO, but finally got to see some. Unfortunately, didn't play out because it seemed like there was just a little bit of team diff in this game today, unfortunately, because we thought this was, I personally thought this was going to be one of the better games today. However, it seemed like it was a bit faster than expected. Anyway, let's bring the man, the legend, the myth, Juice, back in, because he's got some players down on the sidelines, or a player rather, to have the post-game winters? It is winter, but it's also a winner interview, isn't it?
when you said players, I actually did get a bit worried. I thought I missed out on something, and I nearly checked Discord. But nevertheless, I have Kevy down in the side lane with me. Kevy, congratulations on the win. And just to start things off, what's it been like pivoting from, you know, what was last split, a piece roster, now into like a, I guess you could call it a full-time capacity, and it looks like you've really found your home, and you found where you belong, and you're having some very big performances now. What's that whole transition been like for you?
Yeah, it feels pretty good, you know, to finally be starting and like have all the game time and stuff. I think with Order, like, I feel like, you know, everyone like listens to like what I have to say, and like we all like give each other like constructive criticism and stuff, and it feels good. Yeah.
Well, that was actually going to be my next question. So I don't know how many people at home know this, but you've been like the solo queue prodigy for quite some time. The guy that's like always, you know, I think you were rank 1 this season if I'm not mistaken as well. So what's it been like, as in pivoting into like, and what role do you feel for this team? Are you the shot caller? Are you just mechanics max? Like, what are you in terms of the team?
I think everyone does a bit of shot calling, you know, like whoever's like doing well or whatever, or sees a play, like people usually listen to them and go for it. It's been hard like transitioning from solo queue, you know, like to communicating with 5 people like every game, but I think we're getting there. You know, the 2 losses we had like were a bit rough, but I think we learned a lot from it, and yeah, it's going well.
Well, they're not losses, they're lessons, okay? So as far as I'm concerned, there's 0 losses on the record. But you know, where do you, I guess, see, or where do you want to see Order in a few weeks' time? Are you really pushing to just be, you know, top 2, top 3, top 1, or do you just genuinely not care, and all you're thinking about is like best playoffs Order we can be? Or is there something inside of you, I guess, that's like, nah, I want to prove to them that we're the best team or second best? Yeah, where's the head at in that sense?
Obviously, like, you know, I want to prove to everyone, like it kind of pisses me off. Everyone just puts us 5th, and like every game we play like feels really winnable. Like I don't feel like we're like that insanely gapped by anyone. So like I don't really care. Like I'm not like gonna be crushed if we don't get first or something, because we're all just trying to learn like a lot, and yeah, it would be nice, and every game feels winnable, so whatever we place, like that's probably what we deserve, you know.
Yeah, fair enough. And so far it's been a very good journey to watch you guys on, and you know, I know for the casting team we're very excited each time you guys are on Summoner's Rift, so thanks for joining me. Go celebrate, maybe in lockdown, but nevertheless have fun. Yeah. And thanks.
Alright, cheers. See ya.
I wasn't sure what state he was in. Therefore, I didn't know if he was in lockdown or not.
Just assume they are at this point, right? Yeah,
exactly. So, I was going to say, go celebrate, have fun, but also make sure it's just to your kitchen, to your cupboard, and be responsible.
I think he was actually in the Order offices in Melbourne. That's hence the background.
And we're not in lockdown in Melbourne. So if he wants to go out, he can, feel free.
Yeah.
Even give me a call, whatever. I'll call in sick to work. I don't care.
Go have a party. Go have a jungle party together. Now, let's quickly move on to the DoorDash player that delivered. And I think everyone, again, already knows who it is. So let's just get down to the meat and potatoes. Let's get down to dinner. It was Maximize, who's going to be very happy about that because he's been wanting it all last couple of weeks. 80% kill participation, 7, 2, and 13 in terms of the KDA, and he was just all around doing great work in the top lane today for Order, wasn't he, Skimmy?
He certainly was. I mean, this is a tough one to call because individually, the players of Order were excellent, right? Beats finding success just with all these fantastic engages wherever he went. Puma able to posture aggressively onto pretty much everybody, and as an AD carry, it's probably the best feeling ever to be in a position like that. But I think for me, Maximize the fact that he's able to get an early double kill, translate into laning phase, pretty much every ultimate found success, and some clutch fears too to deny resets where Direwolves may have been finding some, you know, kind of comeback potential in the game.
What about you, Rusty? Ward check 13 in what was a 30-minute game. Is that all right?
More than the mid laner of Kiyose in his 11-1 game. Am I right? True. And what I will say about Maximize in this game is he is the one who died for his team. So I give him a lot of credit for that. You know, was making the plays with the Twisted Fate and the Dino, and was the one that was actively sacrificing himself for it. And it's an easier thing to say than to actually do that.
Well, can I? Yeah. I know we're running out of time, but just quickly, I was a guy who died for my team a lot, and all I ever got was benched. I didn't get players that delivered.
Maybe it was a different time back then, you know, the numbers mattered, whereas now it's more the heart that matters. Right?
Of course. Because the heart is the
you know who
strongest
was
muscle.
doing stats back then, Juves? It was myself at Atlas manually. So it's hard to bring up good stats for you.
Fair enough. Damage taken stat.
You know, as we are about to send it into the break, Jubes, did you have that a cappella ready for us? Are you prepared? Are you warmed up?
I don't know the words, so it might be a bit awkward, but guys, for the song of the day, it's do it all day, just send it, brah, 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 do it all day, do it all day and send it.
And on that note, let's please send it to the break. So thank you so much for that, Jubes. Chiefs and Pentanet, though, potentially the game of the day is going to be coming up just after this. And go and enjoy Send It by Hooligan Hefts yet again.
Think we've seen too much on a global front, as we'll hold that point again to the 2v2 top side, and just look at them evaporate the health bar whoever they focus. Non-existent. On a 1v9 show, they're going to chuck him in. Beats looking to lock in place the key target. Turn their attention now on towards Clear. He's locked in place, forced to dash away, but in a 3-man moonfall.